Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dialogue Options. My name's Joel, and today I'm going to be taking you through a little game called Armello. Armello is a digital fantasy RPG board game that was made by an Australian developer, League of Geeks, based in Melbourne. It is for 4 players. There's also a single player against AI, and we're going to show you a little bit of it today. So let's check it out. The world of Armello is set up in a fantasy world filled with anthropomorphic animals from different animal clans competing to become the new king or queen of the land. The current king is corrupted with a thing called rot, which is sort of like a poison or a dark force that is overtaking the land, and the king has succumbed to it and only has a certain amount of time to live. So you want to step up, become the new ruler of the land, and that's the aim of the game. The game works like a turn-based board game with dice battling and equipment and spell cards. The board is divided into hexagon tiles, which are randomly generated from various types, such as dungeons, forests, mountains and settlements, and a few more. And you traverse around the map and you try and go around completing various quests in order to become the new king of Armello. The game uses cards, which are things like items, spells, and followers, which you can use to gain the advantage over your foes. And there also is a dice combat element to the game, which uses special dice that have different symbols for damage or blocking and a few other different types as well. And that's what you use to battle your foes. There's also a day-night system. Some characters have advantages during day or night. For instance, one of the characters has an advantage of being able to be cloaked in stealth when it's nighttime on any of the spaces. And speaking of the characters, there's a wide roster of characters involved in this game. So some of them involve Thane, who's a wolf with a heavy sword. There's River, who is an archer wolf. There's Amber, who's a rabbit that uses a short knife and carries an umbrella. And my favourite, Barnaby Screwloose, who is a rabbit that uses a hammer as a weapon of choice. He does a lot of damage, which is great. There's Mercurio, who's more of a stealth-based mouse with a rapier, and Zosha, a rat assassin. So the mouse characters are a little bit more sort of stealth, sneaky, obviously because they're smaller. And then there's Sana and Brun, who are both bears. Sana carries a magical staff, and Brun has a big club staff. He's a bear shaman. There's lots more characters that are coming soon to this game. The developers, League of Geeks, are adding things to it constantly. They're listening to their fans. They play with them on Twitch once or twice a week, which is great. I love the involvement that they have with their fans and their community. And they're adding more content and listening to what people want in this game. Some of the things I like about this game are it's a digital board game, so it doesn't have a physical copy of it. It's all digital, and it sort of only works as a digital game. It doesn't work as a physical media game. I'm sure you could do a version of it, but seeing the characters come to life and the way that they engage in combat or interact with each other on the board is really something special. So I really like the fact that it is a digital only board game. I'm a big fan of board games myself, so being able to play this online against random people online or other friends who've got copies of the game, or even by myself just to hone my skills, is a real bonus over physical media and physical board games. Like I said, it's a fun multiplayer experience. Playing online is really easy to do. Just jump in, search for a game. You can make custom games to play with friends, which is really good as well. But it's also a really fun single player game where you can sort of really hone in and try and figure out how to go for these certain types of victories, which I'll get to in a second. The best thing about the game that I really love is there's a fantastic tutorial experience that not only teaches you how to play the game and the basic mechanics of the game, it sets up the world and the lore. So these characters sort of come to life through this tutorial campaign, and it's really cool to get to know what these characters' motivations are and why they're there and who they are, which is really interesting. Like I said before, there are different winning conditions to winning the game. There are 4 actually. There is combat, which is just straight up taking on the king in the center in combat before he dies. There's a prestige victory, which involves having the most prestige points when the king dies at the end of the game when he runs out of lives. You gain prestige points from completing quests or taking on other characters and winning. And you gather all those up. If you've got the most at the end when the king dies, you are crowned the winner. There's a Spirit Stone victory, which is, there are things called Spirit Stones, which are around the board in sort of like shrines, or they're also part of quests. If you collect 4 of those and then head to the center, you overcome some of the perils that are around there as well, which are kind of like traps. Once you get through those, you get to the center and the king immediately dies because you have these 4 Spirit Stones and you win the game. And the last victory condition is rot, which is the hardest of the four. I haven't been able to pull off a rot victory myself yet. It is quite difficult because you need to infect yourself with rot. There are items that can do that, or there are different events that happen around the board that can infect you with this rot. But once you have the rot, you need to collect more than what the king has, go into the center and then fight him in a rot combat, which is something that you can only do once you are infected. There is a lot of information with this game, and there's a lot to take in, and it does throw a lot of stuff at you in that tutorial while you're trying to pick up lore as well as learning how to play the game. So there is a bit of a learning curve to it. The thing is, once you play the first game just without the tutorial and you play your first solo game, everything sort of falls into place, and everything, you have that sort of I get it moment, which is really, really good. Everything sort of has been ingrained into you from this beautiful tutorial, and now you're putting it into practice in a real game, and it just falls into place. One of the downsides to the game is that there is a fair bit of RNG involved. There are quests that you need to undertake. These things can have physical rewards like items or spells, or they can also give you stat points in things like strength or health or magic or wits, which will help you to overcome enemies and complete more quests. But the way that the quests are resolved is completely RNG. You'll get a percentage chance down the bottom and say you've got 60% to complete this challenge, but to say it's a 60% chance, it gives you 4 crosses and 6 ticks. And then it sort of slowly takes them all away until there's one left, and it'll be a tick or a cross. If it's a cross, you fail. If it's a tick, you win, and you get the reward. That is a bit of a downside, that there is sort of no skill element to that sort of thing with the questing. But I kind of let it slide because, again, it is a board game. So there always has to be some sort of chaos engine or some sort of luck element that is involved that makes the game more exciting and fun and more replayable as well. So that's Armello. League of Geeks, you've made a fantastic game. Guys, I highly recommend you check it out and go and shoot the guys at League of Geeks some love. They've made a beautiful experience with just such stunning artwork, beautiful music, and these really, really interesting characters that you want to know more about. And that's what sets it above the rest when it comes to digital board games and some other adaptations that I've played. There's lots of content that's still being released for this game, so keep an eye on it, check it out, go download it, and let me know what you think. If you like this video, give us a like on Facebook at Dialogue Options. Find us on Twitter at Dialogue Options as well. And if you want to hit subscribe up there underneath this video, much appreciated. We'd love to hear your feedback on all the types of stuff that we're doing at the moment. We're throwing ourselves headlong into this. So if you've got any questions or ways we can improve, shoot us an email at dialogueoptions@gmail.com, and we'll catch you later. Bye.